Hello and welcome back to Plant Revelations, or if you're new, thanks for joining us. And today we're doing something a bit different. We're going to do an unboxing of some rare, unusual evergreens that I've ordered. I've not done an unboxing before. It's definitely not sponsored. We don't have enough people to watch us for that. But this is a company I have used before and I was quite pleased previously. So hopefully I'll be happy again. Now, I'm not sure what to expect because I think I thought I'd ordered 2 plants of one, but then it came up as 2 seeds on the order, so I'll have to see. But certainly some rare and interesting plants. Now, this is from a company called Jurassic Plants, which I know they order in the UK, but I'm not sure if they deliver to Europe or Ireland. You'd have to check that out. And it costs about £100 in total. So we'll see what we've got for our money and have a look at the plants, and I'll talk about what there is. So now we don't do it anymore because it's not, because we're such a small little nursery, it's not really worth it. Whereas we did actually used to send stuff mail order ourselves, so it'll be interesting to see how they pack their plants as well. It's actually 2 boxes here. Thought it was 1. But it did come pretty quick. And the postage was reasonable, but I did order from this nursery. Do a lot of unusual plants, especially unusual edible small trees. They specialise in small trees. But yeah. So it'll be really interesting to see what we've got here. And bear with me, because this might take a little while. Quite well taped. So I've just managed to open these, and they're really well packaged. You can see they're sort of sellotaped in. I can't pull that out. That's going to take a bit more time to take out. You can see there's a few saplings here. And again, in this box, there's actually a box within a box. I don't know if that was a mistake, but lots of taped in well. There's no way they're moving about in transit. So, like I say, I used to do this myself, and we actually used to put canes in that we used to touch the top, and that stopped them wiggling about. And we'd take the pots into the bottom, but this is just as good, I'd say. So I'm impressed with the way that they've turned up. Right, that took a bit of doing, but I finally got them all out of their boxes. So they're all taped in, and they've got this cling film around them, or cling film, whichever it is, just to keep the soil in as well, so you haven't got a box full of soil when it arrives, which can be a pain. The first one that we've got 5 plants, because I've forgotten what I've ordered, it was a week or 2 ago, of Hoheria angustifolia. Now, these don't look like an awful lot, and it surprised me what the leaves look like, actually, because I'm used to growing the Hoheria sexitalis. I might have to correct that in the notes below. And this makes an evergreen tree, about the size of a hawthorn tree, maybe a bit larger, like a large acer. And it has beautiful, hang on a minute, I've just got to sort this puppy out. Can you stop that, please? Thank you. Anyway, so this makes a beautiful tree, about the size of a large hawthorn or large, Japanese maple eventually, but it grows quite quick in its former years, so it makes a great screen, has creamy white flowers in sort of July time. So I'm really excited about these. They've obviously been grown from seed because they're quite thin. They're not grown from cuttings, but they all look really healthy. I'm sure they'll bush out quite heavily as they get older, but I don't like to trim them, especially if they're going to be trees. I don't like to trim them to make them bushy. I like them to have a leader. So I shall put these in the greenhouse for now, keep an eye on them, and as soon as the temperature is warm enough, I'll pop these in a nice free draining mix, and then I'll pop them out in the summer, hopefully pot them on again one more time, and then next year they'll be ready for planting out in other people's gardens or my garden. But yeah, I'm pleased with those. They're a rarish plant. You can get the Snow Queen quite easily, but I've not seen the straight angustifolia so much. So I'm really pleased about those. Right, the next one. Bertie, no. Stop it. So these two plants are the ones I'm really excited about. And I was worried that these were going to just be 2 seeds, because it said on the order on one of my emails it said 2 seeds, but I thought I'd ordered 2 tree seedlings, and I thought I've made a big mistake here. Those are expensive seeds, but they came as plants, so it was obviously just a admin error or something, and they've sent me the right thing, so I'm really pleased about that. They're nice little plants. I know they don't look very impressive, but these at the moment, but these are really beautiful, exotic looking trees, and they're semi-hardy. So unlike the Hoheria that should be sort of minus 15 Celsius or something like that, probably hardier when it gets when they get a lot bigger. But for now, I'll keep them in a cold greenhouse. These are more sort of -5 to -10, but they'll be in my greenhouse for a few years till they're basically too big for me to move in and out, and then I will plant them probably in a sheltered spot, like next to a south-facing wall or something. So very similar to the Eriobotrya japonica, which has got beautiful big corrugated like leaves. In fact, I'll go and get you one in a moment. I might do it now. Well, I don't know if you can see this, but this is off an Eriobotrya japonica. Really quite waxy, thick leaf, almost felty undersides. It's what they call the true loquat. Makes a beautiful plant. Also, you can grow it in your conservatory like a house plant, but it's really hardy. Fantastic evergreen, really underrated. That is tough. Go down to -15, no problems. One in my front garden, and a big one at my parents' that I planted, which is probably like 15 foot now. Perfect small evergreen tree. So these are really exciting. These are more of a shiny leaf with a sort of, the new leaves come out lovely bronze red, and they've got like a shiny serrated leaf, so they'll be really exotic looking, but they've got this fantastic bronze look to the new foliage. A bit like a Photinia, but a lot more classier. So I'm really excited about those. That's Eriobotrya deflexa. If I said japonica earlier, that's wrong. It's deflexa. This one is japonica. So that's really good. I'm really pleased with those. That's 7 plants. The next plant I've got at the moment just looks a bit like a U. It's called Podocarpus, elatus. So this is a really beautiful evergreen tree from New Zealand. Makes a fantastic, eventually after many, many years, makes a fantastic, huge, exotic sort of looking conifer. It's quite hard to describe unless you see a mature one. Now, I did order something very similar a few years ago called a Podocarpus macrophylla from Jurassic plants, and I potted it on, and similar size to this, maybe a bit taller, and that's what it's like now. So these are very slow growing plants, you know. So this is probably, like I say, I probably wouldn't have been that tall when I got it, and now it's grown that much the following year. So this is about its third year since second or third year since I've had it. I got that about 2 years ago. So again, same sort of thing. I shall pop it in the greenhouse and pot it on, leave it for a bit. I've left this one outside last winter, actually, the slightly bigger one, but I will, if I think about it, I'll put it away, especially if we're getting like -3 or -4. But long term, these should be pretty hardy, down to about -10, but I mean, we're talking probably like 10 years before I need to plant it out because it's got too big. It's going to be a while. Let me just see this dog out. This is a new member of the team, by the way. This is Bertie, who seems hell-bent on destroying all of the plants. Won't you know? But Unfortunately, we lost Beryl. If you saw her in our former videos, she was 12 and a half and went down quite suddenly, but we've got this one now, and hopefully he'll stay calm. The last two plants, that's all we've got left to do, Bertie. This one is really exciting, and it was really reasonable. I know it looks tiny, and all these plants look small, to be honest. And you're probably thinking, oh, you've paid a lot of money for not a lot of plant. And yeah, that's true, but they're all really rare. They're all quite difficult to get hold of. And normally, you'd probably only be able to get 2 of these plants for one that's, let's say, in a 3 litre. And these are in sort of, what are they, like 8 or 9 centimetre pots. But this one is called Schefflera delavei. And all the Scheffleras are really quite expensive and hard to get hold of. Normally, you'd expect to pay about 40-45 quid for a 3 litre plant. 3 to 5 litre plant. So I think this was like maybe £11. One of the more expensive ones, 11 or 12. Might have been a bit more. And I could only order one, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would have ordered 5 and whatever. But it's really healthy. It's really glossy. I'm going to do a close-up of this for you later on my mobile phone, so you can see. It will make a large sort of... Well, eventually they're meant to make a tree, but in the next sort of 10 years, it should make a large shrub, a bit like a Fatsia japonica, but it has beautiful, big, exotic leaves, much more impressive than a Fatsia, and eventually it'll make a tree. But they're very slow growing, on the edge of hardiness, reasonably hardy once you get them big, so it's another one that I'll have to pop in the greenhouse for maybe a bit longer, 4 or 5 years before I start risking planting it out. And finally, we've got a Mahonia. So this one's Mahonia pallida. Now, like I say, in the winter, I always tend to get into my evergreens again. And I really start to appreciate things like the Trachycarpus and some of the more unusual evergreens, pittosporums and stuff, because they really do fill in the garden and give it a bit of life, and they really show up this time of year, and you really appreciate them. So I've got a bit into Mahonias, and this one's a bit of an unusual one. Instead of the normal yellow flowers, it has creamy flowers, and it doesn't get too big. It gets about sort of 1.5 metres by 1.5 metres. Like I say, lovely sort of creamy primrose-like flowers. A nice healthy plant. Eventually, I should be able to take cuttings off this or grow it from seed. So that one I'll put on. Probably put it in the greenhouse, but it probably doesn't need to be in the greenhouse. But I should put it on in the spring. I'll leave it in the greenhouse this winter, and then after that it'll be either planted out late summer or it'll be left in a pot. This will go in a greenhouse this winter. Spring I'll pot it on about April time, then it can go outside. Probably end up leaving it outside after that. I might even plant it next year, because I do often find that things do better in the ground. So as soon as I think they're capable of overwintering, I will put them in the ground. But what do I think overall? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 10 plants. I've got 10 plants overall. Evergreen, small tree saplings. The order was I think it was about £102, including delivery. And I don't think that's bad, because they are rare and unusual stuff. Normally, like I say, for that price, you might only be able to afford 2 sort of medium plants. So I'm getting all this, and then within a year or so, they'll be as big as those medium plants. So I'm basically getting, as long as I'm willing to grow them on, I'm getting a lot more for my money, if that makes sense. So I'd rather have more. And bearing in mind, these, I don't know anyone who really grows these locally, so they're all a bit of a gamble. So I'd rather gamble on several different plants than just spend all my money on one big Schefflera, for example, and then lose it. So I do think it's good value, because these are rare, unusual plants you can't get anywhere else, or if you can, they're extremely expensive. I would recommend them. They're well packed. I think a fair price for what they are. If I was being really picky, I might say that's a tiny bit small. But again, it is unusual. Yeah, I am pleased. I hope you find this video helpful. You may or may not decide you want to go with Jurassic plants after seeing this. And see you on the next one.